the amount of civilians being killed does not bother the West. This idea, some people say, how can the US care? And I think, have you seen the US record since World War II? The countries they've supported, the wars they've launched themselves in Iraq and Afghanistan, potentially millions of civilians killed from Vietnam to today. Do you think the American establishment cares about killing civilians? They care about an ally potentially being perceived to lose. They don't want to be on the losing side. And I guess what losing would be, not so much that Hamas would beat Israel militarily. It means that they are not so-called succeeding in their goals. This sort of drags on. It becomes a quagmire. And in some ways, I'll say finally, it feels like the American and Israeli default these days is quagmires. That's what they do well. Israel and America haven't won a war in half a century. They can't win wars. Now, of course, those wars are immoral and illegal in the first place. I'm not saying it's good had they won Iraq or Afghanistan or Vietnam, but they're incapable of winning a war. They can cause carnage and they can occupy people and they can cause utter brutality. But there's no policy beyond quagmire. A quagmire is the policy. And that seems unbelievably grim and brutal. But I think if you see it like that and you recognize recent history and the current situation, you recognize that the West is basically, the West meaning the EU, the US and other states, including Australia, that are backing Israel almost uncritically. They're supporting not just Israel getting into an inevitable quagmire in Gaza, but they're actually leading to greater insecurity for everyone in the world. Insecurity for the global South and global North, but also for Jews as well. When the West thinks that they're supporting Israel to back Jews, they're actually doing the opposite. They're making all our lives more unsafe because Israel is justifying and acting out in the most brutal, indiscriminate way. That's making all of us more unsafe, Jew and non-Jew. And I feel like unless the handbrake is put on, namely by civil society, this will keep on spiraling well out of control.